Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. What's happening, my friends? Good to see you all. Welcome back to episode number 46 of the live day trading stream here. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Another day, another range, as always. This is gold in a nutshell for you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna mark out some levels today, some sessions today, some zones, some things that we have to look at. And yeah, it's time to get back to work, my friends. Hope you guys are all doing well. Let me see what we have with us in the chat today. And let's get the party started. Not much to add today. We just have to get the ball rolling. Okay. Let's see where we are. You guys, of course, coming just for the music. I completely get it. I have something prepared for you guys, as always. You guys already know that. Okay. Good to see you, Bradley. John, Daniel, Nam. My name is Jerm. What's up, my friend? Thomas, AJ Van Vuren. Dominic from the Philippines. Nice. Rohan, good to see you. Mondreas, how are you doing, my friend? Trade Talks, Bahari, good to see you. Julius, good to see you, my friend. Mr. Faceplant, as always, see you. Reinhard, hey, man. Welcome back. How to be? Yeah. Gamer. Albert is back. Nice. A lot of familiar faces here. Axelrod. Yeah. All right. Beautiful, my friends. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's get the party started. Let's get the ball rolling. And most importantly, let's make some magic happen. Hopefully today, as always. Okay. Let's get the party started, my friends. Looking forward to today's session, man.
Elastic.
I really do, as always. Download the warm-up, yeah? Okay, perfect. Yes, sir. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the live day trading session. Today's the episode number 46 already. Man, time flies here. Gold is making a little pullback. It's holding that support. Okay, we have to actually dive straight into it because this is a pretty important reaction. We're currently seeing on gold right now at the moment here. We have these two zones. Most importantly, yesterday we talked about an important zone. Do you guys remember that zone? Type in a yes, that resistance area that we talked about yesterday. Okay, eventually, price got there. And price got rejected there. Okay, price got there, price got rejected there. We're talking, of course, about this area right here. Look at that zone. Right around there. Okay, the 90. Do you guys remember that one? The 90, the 90, the 90. We said, yo, the 90 has that gold resistance right there. And look at what happened today. Look at actually what happened today. Okay. Look what happened today, man. Look at where price eventually got to. Okay. To the 90, 93 to be exact. It tapped into that low volume node. We have to talk about this, ladies and gentlemen, here. We have to talk about that exact level of why we marked out that zone. Number one. Look at that. Okay. We have to talk about it right here. Let me actually mark this out right now. Look at that level here that we talked about. We talked about it every time. What you need to do when you start the week, you want to mark out the volume profile of the previous weekly range. Right here, right? From the left to the right. And then we have an area where there is significantly less volume traded. You see that? In this whole weekly range, there's significantly less volume traded right around here. Do you see that? So if we mark out the range and we take like a zone, we call that a low volume node, okay? We call that an imbalance, an actual imbalance in the market, an inefficiency right there. And we go to the right, eventually, if we look here all the way where we are right now, where did we got rejected today, this morning during Asia, at that low volume node right there, okay? So we dropped from there around 600 pips to the downside, right around that area right there, okay? That was yesterday. Okay, that was yesterday when we actually talked about that zone here. We eventually held that zone and we got to that level. Price came back down and now we're pretty much flat in a range, right? So at this moment, we're back at range trading again, pretty much, okay? And that's kind of the overall idea and thought process right there, okay? We're back in that range trading, okay? At this current moment, you can see that we got rejected from the low volume node here and we dropped further towards the downside. So hope you understand why these low volume zones are so very important. So important to mark out, okay? And every day, funny enough, you can use that to actually find some interesting levels right there, okay? So this is actually what we do there, okay? If you learn about the volume profile and the way we use the volume profile, then I highly recommend to read about my book, right? The LTA Concentrated Warm Map right now. Okay, it's a book that I created. You can also get the ebook version completely for free right here. You go into the chat and someone will write in ! ebook, right? And you will get it, okay? You can download it for free, fill in your email, and then you will have access to my book right there. And you can study how we look at the volume profile. So when you're on the stream, you know exactly why I am doing what I'm doing for what specific reason, etc., etc. Okay? So if that is the resistance that we have to pay attention to, what about the support? What about the support? Where are we buying? Because we're in a range. In a range, we can buy, we can sell. If we're in a range, we're in a range, right? We don't know when we're going to break out of the range, when we're going to move away from the range. For now, we're kind of balanced. We're in a balanced market condition, right? So what I like to do here, first of all, is to take the previous day, okay, or a swing. In this case, we have a swing low, we have a swing high right there, okay? So what do? We mark out where also is significantly less volume traded here, okay? I hope you guys can see that. And again, you see hopefully what I mean here with a low volume node right around there as well here, because you can see here, there's also a gap. You see that below? Right there. So that's that gap right around there, okay? We call that a low volume node as well from the swing, okay? And if you see where we're holding that support right now, that's where we are currently holding that support right now. That's an important zone. That's an important level for us to pay attention to, okay? Hope that makes sense so far. This is the support that we're now seeing. Two low volume nodes. One is up there, one is down there. And then you have one in the middle, a little bit here, where we got rejected at the 62 or something like that, okay? Now, we also have a level right here that we cannot neglect from the previous day. So let's also mark the previous daily, the full trading day. You can see there is one level that it shows the value area low, all right? The previous daily value low, actually, right around there. You can actually see that the previous daily very low has also been an area of support right there as well. So we have some support here. We just need to look, in my opinion, for the right confirmation right now, because we're facing that resistance here too. You see that? We're getting rejected by the point of control. But the only way will be for me to enter actually a little bit lower, back in that low volume mode. That's like an area where I would be looking to potentially buy. Let's say we break it, right? And we close below it. Not a wick or anything in that matter. No, we actually close a candle below that zone. That will be considered much weaker, okay? In my opinion, because that means we actually take out, fill that value node, close below this. Yeah, and I think the next target then is the previous daily lows, if we close below it, okay? Why? Because it's pretty straightforward. The dollar has been still pretty strong overall here. Let's quickly go to the dollar and let's look at what the dollar has been doing, because the dollar in general has still been relatively strong, okay? That was kind of the issue yesterday too. We had the dollar was pretty strong. We had that news, right? That Iran news that came out. And the dollar has just been consistently grinding its way up. We're now finding some resistance. But also in a daily, okay, you can see that the dollar is constantly trying to push higher and higher and higher and higher, okay? However, there is a but. There is a but. And that but is, we are in a resistance right there, okay? We have daily resistance right here sitting on the dollar. And if the dollar becomes a bit weaker and it starts to flip bearish and we pull back finally a little bit, gold can try to make its move up. So we want to see the dollar in resistance. We want to see the dollar slowing down. We want to see the dollar being slightly weaker for gold to potentially make its comeback a little bit. Because in the higher time frame, gold is pretty much, okay, in a little bit of a, yeah, discount, you could almost say. How do you call that? A discount. You can see that minimum gold is hanging around right now at major support as well here, right? You have major support on gold. This on the daily time frame. We have that support here. We have that resistance there. We have that support there. We have that support there. So gold is at the daily support as well, okay? Don't forget that. We are still at daily demand right here and that daily support as well, okay? We're still not breaking it. We still have it close below it. We're still at it, okay? Oh, that makes sense. So dollar is in a bit of resistance on the higher time frame. Gold is a little bit in support on the higher time frame, but confirmations are confirmations, okay? So we have to take it down to the 15-minute. We have to start looking at what we call the range itself right now and find our confirmations in this trading session balanced, right? Looking for the ranges, looking for the low volume nodes, potentially looking for the confirmations could lead us to short-term, trading opportunities. Not being greedy, because we're scalping. We're not in a range. We're not in a trend. We're in a range, okay? We're not going to be greedy here. But these are our two zones that I think right now are the most important zones for us to hold on to. And any invalidation would, of course, mean a closure below any of these levels right there. With conviction, by the way. So then, yeah, probably targeting the previous daily lows or whatever. But if the dollar is a resistance right now on the higher time frame, and it actually is slowing down a little bit, yeah, I think actually that this is exactly what we want to see right now, right? We want to actually hold this support on gold, because this is just for now the best thing to look for. In this session, okay? The higher time frame does not look incredibly strong. We have to admit this right now at the moment. We got rejected from that resistance, but at the same time, you see that the dollar is slowing down. We're at higher time frame resistance. We're at higher time frame support, and we're getting supported by some levels right now. So overall, I would say gold is not there yet. But we're in a range, and in a range, we can bounce up and down for as long as we need until we make our decision and we move forward to the next higher time frame zone or level, okay? So if we want to trade today, if we want to actually look at a session today, we need to look at the range, because we haven't left the range. We're trading in between the previous daily low and the previous daily high, or the daily high, and we're actually still in that range right there overall, okay? Now from an order flow perspective right here, guys, same thing. Look at that major zone on the 15-minute. These are a bunch of trapped sellers that came into the market. We have been holding that support forever and ever and ever and ever. Look at it. Every time we tap into that zone, we're getting respected at it. Every time sellers entering, but they're unable to break down. They're unable to break price lower, okay? We're just in a little bit of a compression right now. So in my opinion, either we come back into it again, or we break actually above to look for the pullback, and then potentially like a continuation or something in that matter right now, okay? Same for the 15-minute. we really need to start making some moves right now in order for us to say gold is gonna break out or whatever the case may be. Okay, for now I would say if there is a chance of another pullback, we just have to be patient if you take it. Okay, let me know what you guys are thinking right now about Goldie. I want to hear your opinion as well here. Let me know in the chat what you guys are looking at. If in the meantime you want to help out my channel, okay, then you could smash up that like button. I would highly appreciate that because this is how the channel grows. And we are here live 5 days a week. Okay, this is episode 46. 46, okay? We're working our way to 50, my friends. And I think that is going to be 47, 48, 49. It's going to be on a Monday. Okay, Monday is going to be episode number 50. 50 already. Okay, so we might do some giveaways or something like that on Monday because you know what I mean, it's yeah, the 50th episode already. Think about that. Yeah, some serious work, my friend, some serious work. Okay. John says, I'm thinking about a sell right now because we're at the top of this range. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, we're kind of also ranging within a range. We're also in this range, the small range on the 5-minute time frame as well here. Yeah, if you want to short this, then yeah, low volume note. But yeah, man, the overall picture, in my opinion, would be, if you can look at gold one more time here. Okay, let me actually just make sure we have this locked. This as well, right there. Yeah. Yeah, you can actually see that gold is actually holding up pretty well right now. And we have the previous daily very low. We also have that low volume node is our buying zone right there. We already tapped into that at 645. Either we break out or, you know, we just keep ranging in between internally. And we're just going to make a move here. But yeah, right now gold needs to show us something. Actually, the dollar is slowing down. Let's look at what oil is doing. What is oil doing today? Oil is in resistance too. Wow. Yeah, oil is in that resistance. Look at oil. Oil has been struggling a little bit at the moment as well here. At least at the beginning of this session. You know how it goes. But we actually have been there for a while. Oil doesn't seem to be able right now to break that resistance at 103. You see that? We actually have been constantly getting rejected there. So yeah, I mean, it will be very interesting. Okay, if this actually drops, gold will make a little bit of a comeback. Okay, let's see if that happens, or if oil does what it does best and it's pulling back up in an hour or so. You know how it goes. Let's see. Have you sent the book already? And we're working on this, but you're gonna get this. Don't worry. Just keep you in the loop. Okay. Appreciate that, guys. Amazing. Yeah. Gold support, gold resistance. Yeah, that level from yesterday actually held really good. Right there. Low volume notes, man. They do not. They definitely do not disappoint right now. Oh, look at the dollar. The dollar is a bit slowing down a little bit. Okay. But let the dollar prove itself. Let the dollar prove itself a little bit more because, you know, we're still trending upwards right now. We haven't broken anything. We haven't broken structure. We are still just in that compression on the dollar right now. Okay. But I like what gold is doing. I like that gold is getting respected a little bit right now at the moment. But I prefer really gold either to pull back one more time, get to our buying zone, and yeah, then look for a continuation buy instead of trying to enter right now here at the moment. Okay, we're also pretty overvalued. I think that even if we would come up, we could still pull back. With this kind of volatility right now in the market, you really want to trade the extremes, right? You really want to trade those extreme levels. And that's actually at the 4,529 ish. That would be an amazing level right there. The 4529. If you could go back there, that would be not bad. That would be not bad. Let's see if we can get there. Right? Let's see if we can get back towards that area on gold. See if it's possible for gold to make that comeback eventually today by the end of the session. That would be amazing. Yeah, at the moment though, if you look at the order flow in general, you see that there is selling, a lot of selling actually. But the problem with these sellers right now is they're not really getting anywhere. Okay? They're not really following through. This is actually what you want to see. So a lot of these sellers are now getting absorbed, if you would say so. And I think this hourly close is going to help tremendously with understanding where we are. But man, we have been holding up that zone forever. Right, the 33, and then we have a zone below that as well here. My buying area will be at the 29, right? Something around the 29, the 30, something around there. And if we can get there, so we can go pull back down a little bit more, that would be nice. That would be good. That would at least give us the opportunity, in my opinion, we're looking for. Okay, a bit of an undervaluation, a bit of a slower pullback, but let's see if we can get there. Let's mark it down here. Potential buying zone. Yeah, low volume note, previous daily, a lower time frame swing profile. Okay, we just talked about how to mark it out for yourself. I'll do it one more time for you. Okay, you can literally take this tool right here, the fixed volume profile. You can go to the bottom. You can take it all the way to the highest candle, right there. And then you can get the levels you're looking for, okay? That is that zone that we're gonna mark out, where there is no volume traded, right there. Right there. That's the zone. That's the area of support that we're looking for right now. Okay, if price does break out, yeah, then we have to wait for some sort of pullback or reaction. But that's another topic. Okay, that's another topic. Oh shit, did I just delete it? I think I deleted it. There we go. There we go. There we go. Anyways, how we can get the indicators batch in your book? The only way to get it is in our group, and it's actually very exclusive because we're only allowing a couple people per month, or even not per month, per 6 weeks actually, in our group. Okay. Last time I did a launch, we only accepted 15 people. We had around 200 applications. Okay. This time we might increase it a little bit, but not much. Not much. Yeah. But no certainty exactly yet, so we'll keep close. We'll talk about it in the future right here. Okay. We got some Canadian CPI right now. Nothing spectacular, but maybe this has a little bit of an impact on the dollar as well. Some Canadian CPI. Okay. It came out, I believe. Let me actually check. I think we got the CPI right here. Yeah. 2.8%, 3.1 was the forecast. Came out lower. Wow. So the US came out higher and the Canadian CPI came out lower. That's interesting. That is actually interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Fine says that's a perfect hook. Yeah, that's the perfect truth as well. It's for real. Show the volume profile settings. Yes, sir. Here you go, my friend. 128 row size. 70 value area of volume. And then here you have the blue, the purple. I mean, it depends what you want, of course. Up to you. Up to you. Right there. All right. Amazing. Okay. Now, gold is doing its absolute best here to hold up. Keep in mind, this is the open. 30 minutes ago, we opened up. So we opened relatively bullish, I would say. When did we open up? Yeah, 8. Open bullish. So let's see. What happened to yesterday's gold position? Did the stop loss trigger? Nope. Price actually came back. I cut a small loss in the second or third trade we took. I think it was around 20% of the stop loss. 20%, sorry. Of the total. So it's actually a fifth of the risk. And if I kept it open a bit longer, it would have been a break-even trade. I think most people that took the trade got out on break-even. If they held on to the trade eventually, because I know some people do it regardless, it went exactly to that zone after that. But it was a very slow market and it took a really long time. And the actual move happened at 3 p.m. New York time. So we entered at like what? I think we entered at like 11? No, sorry. We entered at like 10:30, right? Something like that. 10:30, 11. And the actual move happened at like 3 p.m. Until then, it was just a range. Yeah. So some late volume. Late volume. And that news came out. Yeah, I think we managed to trade really good, actually. Regardless of the news. The Iran news. Yeah. What is another interesting topic to read? I would say the psychology aspect is super key. So if you have the book right now in front of you, you have the book opened or whatever the case may be, I highly recommend you to also read chapter, I need to actually find it, chapter 36 and 37, okay? 36 especially, read chapter 36, right there. In between page number 222 and 223. I highly recommend to read this. I think it's always interesting to take some psychology in consideration as well. And the main reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of people, they tend to do one thing, and that is to blame their trading on their mindset, their psychology. But in reality, a lot of traders do not really have a clear or clean process, right? They don't really follow anything. They're just trading with the flow. And then when it goes wrong, it's like, yeah, my psychology is not really on point. Yeah, but what about your strategy? You know what I mean? What about your process? What about it? I highly recommend to learn about that as well. Read through that chapter. It's very interesting. Does the low volume node work for other stocks like Tesla and Nvidia? Of course it does, because it's all about inefficiency in the market. The market likes to be as balanced as possible, as efficient as possible. And when there is inefficiency at a certain zone, it tends to hold it. A low volume node can also be an area where a lot of passive activity took place. So a lot of limit orders were executed at once, or orders that you don't necessarily see. Okay? In the front end. All right, and that inefficiency can get filled. It's kind of like in a fair value gap or an imbalance or whatever you want to call it. We call it a low volume node. I like to use the volume profile because you don't have to guess. It's not really subjective. It's there, and you know it's there, and you know it's an important zone. You know, we have seen this on the streams hike how many times right now. We marked out our low volume nodes, and then in either after the stream or on the stream, you can see how it reacts from those zones. So in my opinion, these are like our hidden support zones. You know what I mean? Our hidden levels, our hidden zones, our hidden area of interest. You could better say. Algorithms and high-frequency trading account for over 60% of total trading volume internationally. Yeah, if that's volume. The thing about the volume profile, we don't really have to guess right here. All right, everything that you see on the footprint chart as well, by the way, is all calculated risk. Okay. Executions, market. The red shows you pretty much that there were more sellers active there. The green, more buyers, but that doesn't necessarily mean that green is bullish and red is bearish. That's the beautiful thing about the footprint. Red can mean bullish and green can mean bearish. It's very interesting. How many trades have you taken this month? How many trades have you taken this month on stream? I think I have traded almost every stream, no? Maybe a couple of streams where there is like literally nothing happening. But like in general, I think we have been executing almost every time. Sometimes there's literally nothing, but not all the time. Yeah, man, if you guys are new here and you want to learn about what we do here in the first place, I've been trading, I think, live already for 4 years. I think so. It's actually crazy, but we have been trading for like 4 years right now already. We had some gaps in between, right? I had some pauses in between it as well. One reason was writing a book, okay? Writing like a 300-page book. It's a lot of freaking work. But I know the end result is always so pleasant. Once it's finished, it is finished. But yeah, man, I remember my first stream. Not my first stream, but like I remember like a couple years back. Market conditions have shifted though. A lot has changed. A lot has changed. Yeah, so for now I see a lot of selling, but no follow through as well. So all the sellers are getting absorbed here, but we're below the VWAP. I think we are below the VWAP the whole session, by the way. Pretty much the whole day. After we tapped into our low volume node right there, guys, it was game over, right? We dropped the whole session. After that, we have never been able to really recover from that. London was a little bit trappy. Okay, London open. Right here, fake move to the upside. Immediately reverse, continued down, setting a new lower lows, taking out the lows from Asia. And that's pretty much it. Now New York open. Okay. But we have been sitting below the VWAP pretty much the whole day. Pretty much the whole day. Yeah. We literally talked about it today. I did I had like a presentation or whatever they did here. Okay. And we literally talked about the risk management today and how important it is to be very adaptable to risk. To be very adaptable. So we actually talked about it today. Here I said, yo, let's see if I can find it right here. Okay. Dynamic risk. There we go. The dynamic risk part, super important here. Okay. Risk inside a range versus risk inside momentum. So if you trade both ranges and the momentum, you trade both trends, it's a different risk reward, right? Different ways of management as well. Different targets, different scenarios. If you are the one that trades in ranges, but you also trade in trends, right? You need to create some sort of hybrid approach, some hybrid management, right? Hybrid risk approach. We call it a dynamic risk. Dynamic risk approach. So yeah, we're doing this usually because, of course, when you stream, you want to trade a little bit more frequent. It's also fun, but you need to be adaptable because if you cannot trade the ranges, right? Or you make a lot of money in the range, but you lose money in a trend because you're constantly counter trend trading. Yeah, that's also annoying, right? Or you use different risk to reward ratios, etc. You need to know exactly what to apply in what condition. So in a range right now, we are aware we're in a balance session right now. We're trading in between the daily high and the previous daily low. We're flat. So we need to have that approach of knowing exactly what zones we're looking for and why we're looking for those levels. And one thing is certain, we're not chasing the market here, especially right now. Especially right now. All right, we're coming down, G's. We're coming down a little bit right now at the moment. I think gold has a really, really hard time here. Okay. A lot of sellers, finally, they're making some moves. No longer that absorption. I think that buyer that we saw before is kind of gave up, I would say. And yeah, I mean, this variation is still pushing up here. That means that the dollar is just holding right now. Okay, look at the dollar. It's pulling back again. It's not weak. It's definitely not weak. We're definitely not breaking structure like we talked about already. Dollar is just doing its thing, holding that support right now. And it seems that the dollar is willing to just respect this zone. If the dollar is respecting this and we're going to push up again, yeah, gold will potentially get into our zone, right? And then we'll see if we can find a confirmation. So if we're there, then I'm very curious actually what will happen, right, in our area. And if gold is willing to be supported around that zone, if you can find a good confirmation in it. And if it simply looks too weak and if we don't get that confirmation, yeah, and it breaks it and we close below the 20s, yeah, I think the previous daily lows is what we're going to target because there's nothing else than to target. I think that's the major zone, the major resistance. And this could turn into resistance too. And then, you know, we have still a large push down here, actually. It's like a 400 pip move. It's pretty big. But yeah, that's the bearish scenario. For now, as long as we're in the range, we're in the range. So So I'm not gonna like think about any scenarios that are not there yet. At the moment, we are above a low volume node. We're getting respected at this node. And we know where our resistance is at too. So yeah, let's be patient here. See what happens. There we go. Let's see, any news, my friends? Any news? US Treasury, Secretary Bessent on Japan. Okay, US Treasury Secretary Bessent. Someone is speaking right now, right? Okay. What else do we have? Nothing crazy today. Not yet. Of course, yesterday it was a bit wild. Friday is usually always a bit wild too. Look at last Friday. What a move was that? What a news came out then. Nothing too crazy though at the moment. Nothing too interesting from that perspective. Yeah, dollar is holding up. Oil, what is oil doing? Oil is weaker, man. I think oil is still the one. And we talked about it yesterday too. Oil is still the driver right now. Oil is still the major driver now. For Goldie. So what are we going to do on this stream? Well, if we're in a range, we're just going to mark out our zones, our 2 zones. That's it. We don't really have to overcomplicate it too much. Because if we're in a range, we have our zones, right? We have our previous weekly range. So this is pretty much the reason why. Okay, we do it one more time. So we marked out our previous weekly range. This is the whole week. Okay, from the previous week, clearly what happened the whole week, remember? We were in this range, right? In this flat range, pretty much. And then Friday, we finally closed below it. And we said, if we see closure below, we're going to drop. We're going to probably come to like the 4,600, 4,580. We actually came down 4,480, right? Eventually. It's crazy. But that was on a Monday. On a Friday, we were hovering around there. But we broke down quickly, okay? Until that moment, we were constantly getting supported by an area, which was actually a low volume node as well. Right now, we have broken below, right? So we are actually breaking structure. We're trading below the previous week, okay? We took out the previous weekly lows on a Monday, right here on a Friday. And then that Friday took out, I think, did it take out the lows? It didn't take out the previous weekly lows. It actually came back to the weekly lows of the previous week. But right now we broke down, right? So we take the weekly, we mark it out from the left to the right. And this is exactly on Sunday, 6 p.m. till Sunday, 6 p.m. Okay? And then you have these gaps, and we're looking for low volume nodes. And these low volume nodes are going to give us some levels to look for. Okay? some low volume nodes, like an area where there's almost no volume transacted. And that's actually where we find resistance, okay? You could see it already here on a Friday for the follow through. And then here again, you see that we tapped into that today on a Monday during the Asia session. So actually, if you look at it from this perspective, it looks pretty bearish, right? The dollar looks pretty strong. Oil looks pretty strong on the higher time frame. Gold is below the range. It didn't really do anything. It got rejected on a Monday, took out the previous daily highs in the morning, and then it came down, right? But at the same time, right, we did create some sort of, I would say internal reversal where we took out the lows here, and then we immediately broke the highs here. So we created like a lower low, higher high formation, right? We created like a kind of like a triple bottom, whatever you want to call it right there. So that allows us to take this range too, right? The swing low to swing high, and mark out the volume profile. And right here from the swing low to the swing high. And we can also see that inside of that swing low to swing high, we also have areas where there is no volume transacted right there, okay? So we have another zone. And as long as we're above that level, which is right here, look at that, right here, we're reacting from it, okay? As long as we're above that, we could easily be just hovering around, maybe try to make a pullback again, whatever the case may be, anything in that matter, for us to potentially still hold that support, okay? On the higher time frame, we're also at support. We're at higher time frame support, or we're at daily support right around there as well. Okay, it's also a daily level, okay? We have our daily level right there. We tapped into that level, we tapped into that level, we're tapping into that level. It doesn't look strong, right? We got rejected, etc. Like we're trading below the previous week. We're kind of pulling back. Right? It looks like gold wants to just do something like this, right? And continue to drive further down while the dollar is strong, while oil is strong. But you can't now in this session say, we're gonna do that, because we are creating some sort of internal bounce, and we are at that level right now. This is why I'm more tempted to say, okay, if we pull back to our area and we hold that support, as long as we're reacting from it, I think it still provides us with bounces, like counter trend or whatever you want to call it, opportunities, okay? If we manage to break down, yeah, I think that's a different story, because then the higher time frame fuels the lower time frame, and we're actually breaking structure and coming down, etc. But at this current moment, we're above it. So that is kind of the reason why we're still looking at buys, even though gold is not looking extremely strong. Okay, and I'm happily willing to do that. I'm happily willing to do that. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we're really flat on the 5 minute pretty much. Okay. The last thing that I want to do is buying here, because we're literally in an area on the lower time frame right now where we're just constantly getting, you know, rejected and stuff. Like, I don't want to buy here, you know? It just doesn't make any sense to buy here and hope that we break out. Because if we hope that it will break out and we get rejected here in this range, yeah, then it's just going to be a headache. Because where am I going to put my stop loss right now? Right? It still has to be there. That makes the most sense. Right? It can be here. It can be here. It will probably have to be here. Right? So then my risk reward will be something from that perspective, right? Entry there, stop loss below the zone, and then what? What if you get rejected there? Statistically, for me, it doesn't make any sense, you know? So either we break out and we pull back, or we actually wait for the pullback and then make the move, okay? Or if you have some balls, you short it there. But because of what we just explained, we did our full analysis right now. I hope you understand of why this is such an important swing low to swing high retracement right now, okay? Into that zone. and how we could easily just be chilling for a little anticipation of a larger move back up again, right? So, yeah, for me, the extremes are the most important right now for that exact reason, pretty much. Yeah. Yo, Isaki, man. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. I appreciate you guys also liking this channel. I really do, man. I really do. I'm doing, we're putting in some freaking work. You know, what I want you to be here for is just, you know, obviously live trading is one thing. Because you see me, you know, trade all the time. But like most importantly, I want you to always, and this is always my intention for you, right? When I'm on the stream with you and you're listening to me, my intention is always to hopefully teach you something new. Or something that you never thought about, or whatever the case may be. Not just me, you know, shutting up and just waiting and just saying nothing and just sitting on my ass, and you wait for me to take a trade, and you do this, and then we execute, and that's it. Now, I want you to come out of this stream a little bit with an understanding of, okay, that's the thought process, that's the reasoning, that's why he's doing it, okay? That is the reason. Now I learned something. Now I can apply this after, tomorrow, the day after, you know? I have a book. I can study the book for free. Amazing. Okay? So I hope to give you a little bit of more vibes. Yes. Okay. Yo, Sakub, Javid, welcome, my friend. Yeah, so we're dropping. That's why we don't buy, because like it's like the risk reward doesn't make sense. You can buy and hope for the breakout. Hope for the breakout, because what if it doesn't? Then where is our stop loss? You know what I mean? So yeah. Dollar is yeah, neutral. I would say dollar is actually holding up better than oil. Oil is actually the one that's a bit, it's actually slowing down a little bit right now. Yeah, they're a little bit less connected at the moment. Have you noticed this? The dollar, oil, they're both moving up, obviously. Okay. Look at oil, look at the dollar. We still have been relatively following the same trend, right? Dollar up, oil up. But in general, they're not as tightly correlated as they were, let's say, 2 weeks ago, right? Or a week ago, when it was so heavily around the straight over moves and everything. But of course, it's still, there's definitely a correlation. There's still definitely a strong correlation right now. Yeah. How was Bali? Did you give any course in Bali? No, never done something live, man. This is actually what I would love to do in the future. But everything comes at the right time. I think what I'm doing right now is amazing. With a really small group of people. I always wanted to do this. A really small group of people. And, you know, giving them my like full attention and like serious data. No joke, serious stuff. Okay, the real juice. Really doing our best. They're pretty much almost done. We're almost there already. It's crazy. Time flies. All right, gold is dropping. Look at the valuation, dropping hard too. So that's what you want to see. What about this is the 5 minute. What about the 15 minute? 15 minute is not there yet. $15 minutes is not there yet. Yeah, 4 hours really having a hard time right now. Wow, that's a pretty strong drop already. Love that shit. Wow. And it was right after. This is also something you have to think about. Right after the open. Okay. Right after the open. Look at that drop. Wow, look at the drop. What is happening? Definitely not oil. Oil is definitely not the trigger here. Look at that. Wow. What a move. Let's go to the 5 minute. All right, we're in our zone right now. That was a very aggressive open. Think about this, right? This was the hourly open. The hourly candle just straight through the bottom. Dollar, okay. Let's mark out the 5 minute. Let's pay attention to this. A lot of selling came in here. Okay, we need to close above what? 30? That was an interesting drop for sure. Yeah, look at the dollar. The dollar is already reacting. Oil doesn't really care. Oil is just not the one. Oil is weaker. Oil is weaker. So it's an interesting drop for sure. Look at the yield though. That's the main reason why I see gold dropping right now. It's the yield. Look at that. Spiking. Look how strong it is today, right? That's definitely what's going on. For sure. Look at that. Pretty much at the highs. I mean, that's it. We're back at the highs again. Wow. Yeah, I'm still waiting for any confirmation right now. Anything that shows me, okay, there is an absorption taking place here. Otherwise, no trade right now. This is also the first, 7 minutes of the hourly candle open. That's it. And I think this 5 minute candle dropped around about 200 pips. So can we close back above it? Then I would try. If we close below, actually close below, then that would be considered pretty bad, pretty bearish. right? Because that exactly explains our bias. That means that the higher time frame forces the lower time frame to continue to push down, and we'll go for the lows, daily lows, previous daily lows. But if we see any type of confirmation in here that shows me, hey, there is an absorption, buyers are getting stepping in here, sellers are having a hard time, I will definitely give it a try. But if not, then we'll have to be patient. Low volume notice in the fair value gap too. I think that's how some people view it, as a fair value gap. I think some people view it as like a fair value gap, right? But you can see how this move definitely fueled that reaction right now, okay? All right, wow. Let's see. Yeah, we have literally until the 15, that's it. If we close below the 15, then it's pretty much clear what has happened here. We are now at the 21. But that's the last moment. This is where the volume really started to increase again. So yeah, look at that reaction, by the way, wow. When do we close this 15 minute? In around, yeah, 7 minutes. So let's see, man. Let's see if we can get any type of absorption. Anything that shows us something interesting here. Okay, a little bit of interest right now. Yeah, what is the main level? The main level, in my opinion, to watch is the 29, right? Because that is kind of the level where we saw most of the selling here. You see this red bubble? This is where we saw a lot of aggressive selling here. So this is a seller that's trying to push price down. We're in a area of interest right now. Right? When we call it an absorption, it's an absorption when sellers are trying, but they're failing, right? They're getting absorbed. So that's actually very interesting. There are more limit buyers than sellers that are pressing market sell. So if that's the case, we have to make sure that we at least either break above this high, which we're trying to do now, but preferably close above that high. Right, that would give us a bit more convenient, or conviction, I would better say. That would be very good. That would be okay here. So there is an absorption right now in our zone. Can we close inside of it, above it, preferably? Damn. The yield is unstoppable right now. Look at the 10-year yield. Unstoppable. The dollar is not even following through yet. Okay, the dollar is coming through, but it's in resistance. The yield is just going. Look at that. Wow, that shit has to slow down. Okay, if that doesn't slow down, you can see that gold is in our zone because gold is not pushing down anymore. But look at the yield right now. Look at that. Look at the yield. This means there is news coming. Has to be. There's some news is going to come very soon, or like literally very soon. Something is coming. Has to be, man. Look at that major squeeze. Yeah, we didn't close above the 30 yet, so You can tell that in our zone. For sure, we know that this is a zone where our buyers step in, where sellers are trying. There is an absorption. We're in that low volume node, so it makes sense that we're reacting here. And that the gold is kind of holding up. But if the dollar is so strong, or the yield is so strong against the dollar, it's going to help the dollar push up higher. It's going to have a harder time with gold breaking down. Yeah, look at the yield, man. Look at... Holy shit. I'm impressed, to be honest. I'm actually impressed with how gold is holding up here. Yeah, I'm actually very impressed right now. Wow. What are the short opportunities? Only if you close below this, only below our zone on the 15 minute. But I don't know. I never really trust those big impulses. So let's be patient. Like I said before, I just want to see that closure above. If we could close it back, like let's say back in this range here, I will be buying, right? Back above our zone. That simply shows us that we're back above, back above this area right here, right? We want to break above that area. It's not looking bad though. It's not looking that bad right now. We're holding this one. We can close above this one right here. We can actually close above it. We'll probably close above it right there. And I think there is a chance that we could go try to test these that opening gap on the hourly candle, which is right here, at least right there. I don't know how big that move is. Yeah, and then preferably, of course, this is on the lower time frame, right? We have left all these highs open too, right? So this could be a major flush right now. Let's see. Let's see. It's crazy how big the yield is going though. That's like very unusual. I haven't seen this in a while where it's just like squeezing up so strong, so aggressively. But we are also in resistance right now. We're at 4.6%. Think about that. It's very high. And the major resistance is going to be at the 4.668%. Okay, it's not even that far away. But that's like major higher time frame weekly resistance. That's like a whole other level. Dollar, of course, is strong because of that. Oil is obviously trying to. And gold is still holding up. Gold is still doing its absolute best right now. Okay. Right, we haven't seen any closure yet, so like I said, any closure above the 30 or the major, to be honest, the 30, that will be considered a reclaim, right? Xau's XM price and your chart price are different. Yes, this is futures. And spot is right now at 545.23. So the levels are... Oh, I already marked them out before. Look at that. I already marked them out before, right here and right here. Let's mark out the low. Let's mark out the high. Yeah, we're literally in it right now, right? So Yeah, I think it's like a 2-point difference, I think. 21 and 24.25 and 22. 3-point difference only. It's not much. It was much more in the past, but it's only a 3-point difference right now. But so far, we are unable to break above the 30. We saw that reaction of our zone. But if the yield is going up like this, you don't really want to buy gold yet. You really want to wait for this to be either slowing down, and you want to close at least above those sellers right here. This one right there. You want to close above that. If you can close above those sellers, I feel safe to potentially buy, because it could bring us back immediately to the top of that range at least. And if you then break out, okay, but then you are able to manage the trade. Also, the London highs are like there, for example. So yeah, anyways, there's still definitely a lot of potential if you can reclaim that level. But we need to reclaim that zone. Oh wow, the 15-minute has immediately flushed down to an undervaluation though. Okay. If you're wondering about the valuation, how that works, I will show you this. I will show you right now while we're waiting. So this is like the gold against the dollar. Okay. You measure it against the dollar. So we type in the dollar index. We created this one, and it gives you pretty good zones. Telling you if you're overvalued. Sometimes you're overvalued and you're at support. You know that you should not buy. You should not buy. Okay? When you're undervalued, you could start thinking about the absorptions right here. Every time when you're undervalued, you at least create a range. Even if it's short term, right? Even in a downtrend. Even in a downtrend. This is a downtrend right here. We're still making these pullbacks, right? For like an hour. And it happens almost every freaking time. So when we're here, okay? We could start looking for that absorption, right? We can look for that absorption we talked about and see if buyers are willing to step in right now. Or not. But you know when to pay attention. That's the most important part. You know exactly when to pay attention. I entered the short. Gold Monk trader says 15 minutes broke down the zone. Yeah, we haven't closed below it. We haven't closed below that area yet. We haven't closed below that zone yet. Right? No. I do not think so, no. We haven't closed below it. At least not yet. And also keep in mind, we have that support as well. Besides just looking at the low volume nodes, we're in that like higher time frame support to 2. Right now, we're trying to break it. But let's see what happens, man. Let's see if we can actually make some... For now, we're still in that zone. But we closed this candle in 9 minutes, so... If it does close below, then yeah, then I agree with you. This is one of the strongest yields I've seen in a long time, actually. Look at that. This is what I'm saying. I think there is some news coming or something like that. This is why today we only want to buy with that confirmation, right? When you see this happening, you don't want to get in. You don't want to hope that this will turn around, because you just want to wait. You want to see if you can reclaim one of those sellers. Then the upside makes sense. Then it's worth it. If we close below it, like we talked about at the beginning of our session, and then we'll probably have to think about the lows, the pullback. Yo, what's up, Christoph? Yeah, so right now you see that buyers are stepping in, but sellers are still just in control right now. There's no doubt. Look at that. Look at that major bubble. A lot of selling came in again. Okay. Wow, look at that major sell right now. Major sell-off right now. When is this only validated? Only when we close below. So, you know, I'm happy that we didn't buy here, because that would have been detrimental this time. With this youth pushing up so much, even though you saw how we were getting rejected or reacting from our level, it actually did it absolute best. I was actually very impressed with Gold. I was like, wow, that zone of Ria is respecting. It's not bad, but no, eventually it gave up. So sellers are definitely still in control right now, so don't rush any trade in my opinion. Let's see what the dollar is doing here. Yeah, the dollar, look at the dollar. This is so typical dollar. Typical dollar. This is what we said. Like, we kind of didn't trust it, right? For the dollar. We said like, yo, really show us the weakness. Really show us that you're weak. Show us that you're weak. Closure is what, in 5 minutes? That would change pretty much everything, right? If you close below that, because then this will become resistance immediately at the 16. This will become resistance pretty much. The 16. Wow, the volatility is crazy. And the 21, sorry, the 21. Yeah. Which is actually in that zone. So that zone becomes resistance, pretty much. What a move. What are they trying to target? The previous daily lows? If we close below that, it's the previous daily lows. What an absorption initially. A reclaim would have definitely been buy. Definitely would go long there if we would reclaim that level, the 30. We never did. We just broke that. And now we're going to close in like 3 minutes on the 30 minute. And then the New York Stock Exchange opens up as well here. So it's gonna be wild today, guys. You can already see it. I would really pay attention to this follow through right now. Is there any level below that we have to pay attention to? I don't think so. I think this is pretty much, that's exactly that level that we were looking for. I don't think there's anything else here that we still have lower. I don't think so. I think that was the last level. Let's see. Yeah, this one is the final one. We're in this right now. That's why we're reacting from it, of course. Yeah, the 86. Well, this is already where we reacted from. That's where the previous day lows are. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we have the 4435. What else do we have? We have the 4435. We have the 4455. But that's it. That's it. So yeah. Dollar pushing up. So the thing is, right now we're out of the range. Okay. If we close above below it, it's pretty much clear what we're looking for. Last week we talked about this exact same thing, right? Last week we stayed within the range the whole week until Friday, when I was not streaming. I think so. Yeah, we were pretty much range trading the whole week. We took a long on Thursday, on Wednesday, and on Tuesday. Okay. All same scenarios. Friday we broke down. I was not streaming on Friday. So yeah, this is right now just a follow through play right now with this closure. We're closing like what, 5 seconds? So no, this is a massive drop, by the way, massive. Why didn't you take a trade there? Because there was no confirmation to take a trade, right? That's the main reason why. Especially not for buys. If you see the reaction and you see the yield pushing up really aggressively, you don't see any reclaim. Yeah, you don't see a reason to, there's no reason really to go for it right there. Okay. Unless you short it at 4450, I guess. Man, that's a crazy move, crazy follow through right now. Taking out previous daily lows, I think we did already, yes. I think we've done this right now, and now we have the open, right? So we actually took out the previous daily lows. It's actually so freaking wild. We took out previous daily lows before, right at the New York Stock Exchange open here. Absolutely crazy here. Can we get a little bit of absorption right now? Look at that. Sellers are coming in again. Let's look at the yield as well here. Where are we now? Yeah, look at all that selling here. Okay, we're having a little bit of absorption. Of course, makes total sense, right? We took out the previous daily lows right now. So this is a moment where now I think we're going to see at least a little bit of a reaction here. Okay. We took it out. We're now reacting. We're actually dealing with the New York Stock Exchange open at the moment. All these sellers are coming in. Usually don't even have to increase the tick size, but the volume is insane today. It was absolutely that until 9 a.m. Crazy. Let me get some tea. Let's wait for the freaking confirmation here. Wow. Look at that rejection at that resistance. Price broke it. It held up. It absorbed in our area of interest initially. No follow through. Now we're breaking down. We took out previous daily lows. And the New York Stock Exchange also opened up here. So let the party begin, I would say. Wow. Give me 1 second. All right, a little absorption right now. Look at that, man. 1 hour time frame. This was a major squeeze, by the way. Look at the hourly. This was actually immediately at 9. Okay, it was not just like 9. No, it was immediately at 9. We started to drop. Like on the clock, 9. It started to come down here. All right, causing like a huge injection. So that zone actually held really, really wild. Okay. You need to have some big fat balls if you want to buy it right now. You need to have some big fat balls right now if you want to do that. Look at the Nasdaq as well. What's going on, jeez? Holy woo. Dollar is back at resistance. Okay, that's one thing. There's the yield. At major resistance too, by the way. It reached that major high. Okay, very close to it at least. Very, very close. You see these major rejections before. Would I buy here? I would have no issue with trying. Okay? I'm not joking. The 22 is so far away. This could easily lead to that resistance and continuation. After we talked about this area right here. This becomes for sure now that low volume node will turn into resistance now if you pull back. There's no doubt. Yeah, we need to really just keep that close on the yield. That's it. If the yield slows down, we tap into it, we start slowing down, that makes sense. And we actually do reclaim something. Right now, we're not reclaiming anything. We're just coming back. We're not reclaiming anything. We are seeing some sellers here being stuck in a trade right now. We're trading above it. A lot of people were selling the bottom. Buyers are there. If you can close back above the 85 in 1 minute, that would be a good sign. I will give it a try. How many pips is that? Actually, 85. 86. Yeah, it makes sense. But the only way is to get in here is by really trying to snipe it. It really has to make sense here. This is kind of that continuous absorption right now. It's already the third candle right now that's trying to hold on here, but there's no follow through yet. But you can see why we're holding up here, right? The 70, between the 66 and the 79 pretty much. Yeah, same level right there. It's the 71. I think there's an area for sure to pay attention to right now. 71 is for sure an important area. So we kind of expect that we formulate some support here right now. We took out previous daily lows. We are in that 4-hour zone. Let's go to the higher time frame on the footprint too. Let's go to the weekly actually. Let's go all the way down here. Yeah, the 456, 50. Yeah, we will have a lot of support in this range overall, in this overall area. We have a little bit of higher time frame support too here. So yeah, let's see what happens, man. Let's see if price is actually holding up. Can we kind of reclaim this area right now? That's the main question. Can we kind of reclaim the, let's see where this level is right now. The 85? 86. Yeah, the 86 pretty much. So this area. How can you see the order flow? It's called Xau charts, okay? There are so many different platforms you can try. I think you have different trials and everything. It's kind of impressive how we're holding that zone right now in 5 minutes. Kind of impressive. But the yield is not stopping. The yield is not stopping. Ari says, I tried order flow, but it's not really necessary. What do you think? Volume profile and CFD is enough for me from order flow perspective. I think the volume profile is number one. Always. I think the volume profile and understanding the low volume nodes is, in my opinion, amazing. So that's number one. Then secondary, in the order flow itself, I think this helps tremendously with like risk management, right? It's a risk. If you ask me what is order flow for you, what does it for you the most? I would say it's a risk management tool. Yeah, okay, so the 4 hour dropped. What is the next zone of 4 hour? It's the same area right now. We still have major support, but that's on the daily time frame, but it's actually much lower. It's actually at the 35, the 30. Anyways, would you consider the swing profile from the lows on March 23 to the top? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. This one right here, right? Yes. Yeah, we marked it out before. So right now, not a single reclaim, nothing, okay? So I don't see any reason to buy here. Not a single reclaim. Not a single closure which tells me, wow, this is just Exactly what we're looking for. Wow. Interesting open today, geez. Wow. 9 a.m. Immediate dump. Nothing. Not a reaction. Just a straight dump. Are we looking for buys? I'm looking at least for a little bit of a reaction. We're now in a higher time frame zone number 1. Okay, we have reached some higher time frame support right around here. So it is a super important level actually. 12 hour, 8 hour. We dropped around, I think this candle dropped around, I don't know, almost like 700 pips, 600 pips. Okay, the price is now back down at that area. We are here. We took out the previous day lows as well right now. So the lows are taken out. We are literally at the verge of being really, really on the verge right now. Okay. So at some point we have to make at least a pullback for continuation down potentially right now, right? You can see the trend is still bearish. Everything's bearish. But the pullback already is already like pretty much a long, it's a pretty big opportunity. Even the pullback, right? Because price could easily just retrace and just sell off and continue to go down right now. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. But let's see where we actually close this candle right now. That's what we call a reclaim. Back above those sellers. So where we want to close? Above the 86. Above the 86. Crazy session. What is the best area for sales again? I mean, back at our zone where we talked about our low volume node, right? The 21, that area right now that we talked about right here where we saw that absorption. That is actually the area where you want to sell from if price pulls back. The question is, do we want to trade towards that right now? Is there a chance we can get into an opportunity? Why don't you look to sell here? Because there are too many sellers now around this area, right? That are trying. But first resistance will be at the 4503. Yeah, this was a massive 1 hour freaking candle, that's for sure. And 4 hour, by the way, so far. Most of the volume is traded here, okay? Around the 80. So that's actually bullish. Why? Because if there's more volume traded around this area than in this whole push down, okay? Then this zone becomes super interesting. Okay? That zone becomes super interesting because there's so much more volume traded in this 4 hour candle right now. At the bottom, right at the bottom right here, okay? Right here. Then at the top, throughout this whole process, look at all that volume at the bottom. That means that sellers are trying, but they're failing right now, okay? So pullback was kind of coming, kind of inevitable. So that is that reclaim. I have to admit, pretty wild stuff today, guys. Really wild stuff today. No clean confirmations in any way, shape, or form that I like to see. It's just straight up down and straight up right now. There is no single like kind of good confirmation. You can definitely see the volume right now being clear. Where's the most volume traded? At the bottom of this candle. That's actually quite good for gold. Okay, the fact that that's happening. On the hourly candle, if we close indeed in 4 minutes, that means that in this zone that you're going to see right here, okay, right here, this is an area where you will see probably a reaction. If we come back to any time, we come back to the 84, which is pretty much again towards the lows here, you could create some sort of double bottom, right? This is how double bottoms get formed, by the way. You see a lot of volume traded in the push down. The candle itself shows the most volume being traded at the bottom. Price retests that and it respects it, right? That's how double bottoms actually on the candlestick chart get formed, okay? It's usually something like this and then a potential push higher. So did you trade it today? Bro, I'm looking for the trades. I haven't executed a single trade this session, man. I can't just freaking find any good setup that I like here. Okay. Otherwise, you guys would see me execute the trade, of course, right? But yeah, it's kind of annoying because you see the big moves, but it's like there is none. There's just it was a straight flush down during the 9 a.m. open and immediate pushback. I do like that that absorption though here. I do like this. I do like this hourly candle right now. All right, 50 minutes. Yeah, that reclay was very, very good too. You see all that volume traded here and no follow through. So this is going to be super key right now, right? All that buying that took place right here. Any reaction in this level here at the 85s. Like I said, I marked out that level already. Roughly speaking, around this area. If price now pulls back, there's a reason why, like, let's say so much volume was traded here, right? At the bottom of this candle, on this hourly candle. And now this hourly candle has closed. So that means that right now, a new hourly candle opens up, right? And that means that the bottom wick is going to get set in right now on the new candle right here. And this is that zone that we talked about right here. It's all that volume. If we can get there, man. And we see reaction, I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm not joking here. That's the only logical kind of confirmation entry I would be looking for. Targeting that resistance at the 20s, right? That's it. And then, yeah. Kind of the double bottom formation. 10-year yield is starting to slow down right now. Finally, after like how long? And the moment it slowed down, boom, gold came back up immediately. The moment the yield started to slow down, dollar as well here. Let's see oil. Oil is breaking structure already. Yeah, look at that, man. This was either the major manipulation right now. I'm not joking, for like a larger pullback. But the 20 will be no matter what resistance right now. And the retracement will be this zone that I marked out. On the 50-minute, it's actually very, very clear. It's actually right there. All that, this whole push down and this whole push up, there was nothing there that could give me anything that I would be interested in, unfortunately. It really feels like a gambling session today, not joking. Like this push down and this push up. You have to be hyper aggressive. Yesterday I took 3 trades in the New York session. They all had some form of confirmation. This was a straight up battlefield. What is the price of gold right now on spot? I think it's only a 3-point difference. That's it. Yeah, I think it's actually great. It's actually a great area to try. I'm gonna give it a shot on the pullback right now. I'm gonna give it a shot for sure around the 85. You can get back there. Yo, what's up, Ammo Master? How are you doing, my friend? You too, my friend. Mr. Nobody, welcome. Welcome, welcome. The yield finally is dropping after like this major push up here. It's the first time that we see a little bit of a retracement. And gold immediately recovered. The moment that happened, gold immediately pushed back up here. $2, right? Dollar very similar. One second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, what's the damage, my friends? What's the damage? This is the first session, I think, in the last 2 weeks where we are super freaking patient right now, like literally. Trying to look for the right entries right now, trying to look for the right confirmations, but man, it's just going... It's literally zigzagging in extremes right now with major volatility. I have 2 zones in mind right now. It's at that 85 level right here. So much volume traded below, which is right in that yellow line. And for the rest, we have that zone where we came from, right where we broke down. But yeah, immediate recovery as well to yield. So sick. Yeah, this is that area right now. Major volume traded here. What is the footprint chart? Footprint chart is pretty much the executed orders in the market, right? The market orders. So you can see here that all these numbers that you see is one thing, but it's not about the numbers, even though it is about the numbers. What I look at is the colors, okay? The color schematics or the heat map, okay? Pretty much like that. So this is kind of that range right now where there's so much volume traded. And also if you look here and you zoom in, you see that 136, a huge seller came in here. That seller is now stuck in his trade because he shorted the bottom, okay? He kind of shorted the bottom. This is not a stop loss. This is like an aggressive seller that stepped in at the bottom right there, okay? And buyers to control. And this is so much volume that if price pulls back, that will turn into some sort of support. Okay, it could be turning into an area of interest right there, the 4485. At the same time, it is also the previous daily low. The previous daily low was taken out right here. Okay, so we swapped the lows of yesterday. We came back. We traded a lot of volume here. A lot of selling, but absorption. Okay, and on the higher time frame, we're actually in a the month zone, you could say right now. The 1 hour just opened up. It's setting in the bottom wick, the top wick. In my opinion, it could still come down, and that's what I'm waiting for right now. And that's the only move that I could think of being interesting, knowing that there's so many trapped sellers at the bottom right now. The next zone is at the 21. And that is that zone that we talked about. Our initial zone today, right? Which is right here. So these are kind of our 2 zones. Yo, Lorenzo, you're going to be at the Forex Expo in September, October this year. It's in Dubai, right? Maybe. Never visited it, actually. Oh yeah, I did once. Does this indicate that we're back to war? The thing about it is there is no news right now. This is straight up volume. This is straight up aggressive volume in the market right now at the moment. We're not used to this anymore on the streams. We're used to depth markets. Right? This is what we have been seeing over the past, I don't know, 3 weeks on stream. Just ranging, and then one day where we have a major breakout. How was your weekend trip to Singapore? Yeah, Singapore was nice. Thank you, man. Yesterday came back, immediately back to work. Okay, we're gonna see some news in a second though, guys. I heard something here. I heard there is some news right now. Is that correct? Something around NATO. NATO to consider a Hormuz deployment if the strait is not opened by July. Okay, when this came out, if this came out literally right now, right? Came out right now? Okay, got you. Now you understand why the yield was rising? If this actually came out right now, then you can understand that the yield, okay, that has been shooting to the moon today, then we understand why gold is dropping so hard. Wow. That's actually really bad news, by the way. Just like from a geopolitical standpoint, that means war. That means NATO war. All speculation though, right? Do take that in consideration. All speculation. Okay. Speculation or not, the euro is dropping. Yeah, the euro, not just the euro. Not just the euro. The euro is just indeed weaker than the rest. That's true. Look at the Nasdaq as well. Look at that fake freaking move today on the Nasdaq. Look at that. This was the open right here. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, what's interesting actually about that news from NATO, right? About this overall push up here. The yield is actually pushing up really, really hard right now. Look at that. Unstoppable, right? We had a little pullback. Gold recovered. The yield is pushing up again. It continues to go higher and higher and higher and higher. $2. Oil doesn't really react that much right now. You see that? Oil is not really reacting. Oil is just chilling, holding up. It is the dollar. It is the yield. Making some serious moves here. Yeah, we really need to look at the yield right now, not at the dollar, but that's the number one thing for sure. Because this is what's driving the dollar up. I think we have to take that in consideration. This is what's driving. We're as well overvalued right now. And gold is dropping, like it's crazy. Yeah, we're dropping down into that zone, we're overvalued, so. It's absolutely crushing the markets right now. The Nasdaq is bleeding. Absolutely bleeding. Okay. Sir, I've invested heavily in gold biscuits. I purchased them at $4,800 per ounce, and I'm currently in a loss. Should I sell them? You bought them physically, you mean? Like physical gold. Is that what you're saying? I would I would hold on to it. But that's what I would do. If it's physical, you're gonna need it at some point. You know? Wow. If it was paper gold, yes, I would say maybe close it. If it's physical gold, I would say hold on to it. Hold on to it. All right, first actual retest is almost there, right? We're at the 4484. I think the yield is unstoppable right now. It's unstoppable, man. And we're still overvalued right now. Wow. So we missed 2 confluences already out of the 4 confluences that we want to see. Undervaluation, The correlated assets slowing down. Today has been, it's like, honestly guys, for me, an insane market. Almost to no confirmations. You have to be super aggressive in this market condition. Like super aggressive. You can see that we're reacting from that zone again. Hey Lorenzo, looking forward to be part of that 15 group, the next group. You have been killing it over time. Thank you for this. Where are you now with them? We have been doing, actually, we had just a session before this, before the stream. And we literally talked about risk management. That's how crazy it actually is. We literally had a topic about risk management today. So what an irony in this session right now to see this happening. So we're already at like session 8. We already have done 8 sessions in a row. It's actually crazy. Look at that. Macro correlation, high time for analysis, volume profile, footprint, order flow, live execution. There was a live stream, live trading, really market conditions, risk position management. Yeah, we have one more. So yeah, crazy. Look at that reaction again. Wow, look at that. Now 85 is a serious level. The 50-minute is still undervalued as well. It's insane. So yeah. There we go. Well, one try at 85. You guys. Sparta says, I'm assuming it's true. Trump is going to tweet. Trump is for sure going to do something. Yeah. Yeah. He's going to have a speech actually later, I believe. Some sort of speech, like a conference or something. Yeah. We're just following the volume right here, right? This is what we're doing right now. Where's the most volume traded? There. Where do we react from? There. Christine says, stop being fearful. A setup is a setup. US turn your youth flying to the moon. Yeah, a setup needs multiple confluences, right? Otherwise, it's not a setup, actually. Otherwise, it's just not a setup. But hey, enter, you know, you could do it, do it. Do it. We have been extremely aggressive over the last couple of days. But I think also you have to understand in certain conditions, you need to know exactly when to pull the trigger, when to stay out, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion. You need to look for certain confirmations. But I'll make sure I give the zones at least. Areas of interest as well here. If we can get a good confirmation, great. I'm watching your channel always. Amy, my man. Nice to see you, my brother. She like my gusto, sleep talk. She like my combo. Made up wet, I'ma need that poncho. She chose up. I don't want no love though. I don't want no smoke though. Let's just keep it fun, bro. Polo on guard, finna call your bluff. You ain't going up. Tell me what you come for. What she want from me? She just want the funds. No love for me. She just want the funds. I get to the money, yeah. I've been on the run. On the run. I've been on the run. I know what she want from me. No love for me. I get to the money, yeah. I've been on the run. Yeah, we're both in that resistance. I think the dollar is back at that resistance again. Look at the daily. So the dollar is coming back and giving some better vibes. Oil as well. Oil is already slowing down. Oil is definitely the weaker one today. There's no doubt about that. Oil is not weak, but it's just weaker, right? It just doesn't really want to do much. So that's actually really positive. The good part is here, right? This is exactly what we talked about, right? This is how kind of double bottoms get formulated. Price tanks, a lot of volume traded at the bottom of that candle. It pulls back to it and it kind of respects it. It taps into that area where that volume was executed, which is right here. And this is where we're kind of holding that support right now, right? This is why we marked out that box, that red, that yellow box. Major volume traded here. This could lead to double bottoms or higher lows or whatever you want to call, right? Higher low. Back to the 20s. But let's see if the youth is actually really about it. Jeremy says, after the footprint tool, Lorenzo stopped using the fixed range volume profile in the lower time frame. Why would you have you seen the streams, brother? That's the only thing we're talking about. That's literally the only thing we're talking about, the volume profile. All the time, every day. What happened to their zone? Right there. How to use the volume profile correctly? Well, exactly like that. Like we talked about, we use volume number one. Okay, we talked about it in the 15-minute. We marked out the swing high, low to swing high here. We had our low volume node. We said if we stay above that, right, you can have a chance that we could bounce. Well, we clearly broke down. The youth came up, price broke. We tapped into our higher time frame zone. We took out the previous daily lows. And now we're seeing a lot of volume traded here. Okay? In this area. A lot of volume has been executed right there. So right now you're at a stage, right, where if you tap into the 85, there is a chance that this indeed sets in the double bottom we're looking for, right? And that's what you want. And if then the oil is slowing down, you see the dollar is also actually in resistance, slowing down as well the yield, then you have a little bit of opportunity to push into a pullback trade. That actually makes a bit more sense. Okay. So much volume traded at the bottom of this candle that the moment we close back above that, right here, that was the moment where we kind of reacted from this area. You could see this in this whole candle. Nothing is really highlighted, right? Except for this right here. This one right there. So that becomes an area of support. And this is why we're reacting here. And this is how, like I said, double bottoms are formed, because if the hourly candle aggressively comes down, but more volume is traded at the bottom of the hourly candle than at the top of the hourly candle, or in the middle of the hourly candle, there is less volume traded, so less people executed market, right? And the candle closes above it, and it pulls back, the next hourly candle will set in the bottom wick. And that's usually in the area where most of that volume has been traded pretty much, okay? So if you're asking why did it tap into that level exactly and it bounced, that's the major reason. It's all about volume. And this is why we always talk about the executions, the volume, etc. But understanding this is one thing, right? But then you have personal management, trade management, knowing which setups to take, which setups you don't want to take in certain conditions, etc. That's all personal preferability. But the core concept is relatively similar. Steven says the orange man is currently live showing how his ballroom construction goes on. Is that true? Is it actually true?
You know, if we had this finished, we would have had an event that would have been 10 times exciting.
That's actually true. We're screwed, man. We're absolutely screwed. The whole world is falling, and Trump is talking about his new construction project. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. Some other news. Swaps imply over an 80% chance of a Fed rate hike by the end of 2026. That's quote unquote, again, very bullish for the dollar, right? All speculation though. Once again. It's actually, sorry, but it's a little bit funny, right? Let's be honest. We're talking about Iran. We're talking about NATO sending troops to the Strait of Hormuz. And Trump talks about this new ballroom. Yeah, crazy market. Lorenzo, how did it yesterday end up? I think yesterday ended up pretty good. Yeah, yesterday ended up pretty well. We ended the day in green, so that was good. Groy says, this is a hard hold, not gonna lie. Yeah, can imagine. I can totally imagine. Usually I'll be streaming only for 2 hours, right? But the reason why I'm still streaming right now is because the price action is just so crazy. So interesting as well at the same time. I don't really want to leave the stream right now. I actually want to see what's going on here. John says, I've been hesitant because Brent crude oil has not been married to gold the same way as the past several weeks. Something is pushing. That's the 10-year yield, man. Yeah, the yield is pushing really hard, and that makes the dollar go up tremendously. The yield is doing it today. Okay? The yield is doing it today. And it could also be that stocks are selling off very hard, right? Causing the yield to spike as well. It's a combination of all those factors. It's one big, massive bubble. Nasdaq is selling off right now. With the Nasdaq selling off, we have the yields rising, dollar pushing, gold dropping, yield slowing down, gold pushing up, back to our second zone. Why are we not using the previous daily volume profile? We did. It's right here. The previous daily very low at 4531, but it's pretty much irrelevant right now because we're trading below the zone already. The guys in the group definitely entered. Look at that, 85. Same zone. Same template, of course. There we go. It's good. Very good. Chrisley, my G. Good, brother. That's exactly what we talked about. Good job, man. Telegram? I don't have Telegram, man. No, if you watch me live on TikTok, you need to go to my YouTube channel because with the TikTok, it's not even my TikTok. It's not even my TikTok account, okay? Some random guy that created a TikTok account under my name. And then he streams my stream. And then he puts a fake Telegram group underneath. And then people join that. And then people pay money to get into that group. And it has nothing to do with me. Okay? So simply took all the reels from my Instagram and reposted it on TikTok. Then streamed my streams. Viewers came to that. I don't know how they found it, but like people started following that. And then they put the promos in the chat, right? And in the bio and stuff. And then people buy for that or pay for the access to a fake Telegram group. It's very unfortunate, man. It's such a scam. So sad. Actually crazy if you think about it. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't have a Telegram group. The only thing this is the only reason why I don't have any groups and stuff. You know, it's just like the only thing that I have is a small group right now of people that are really committed and on board a small group of people every month. That's it. Right? Every month, that's it. And when I say small, I say small. So yeah, at the moment we're just back in the range here, but you can clearly see that this is an area of interest right now, right? It's at 85 level right here, 4485 to 4474. Okay, so if you are on spot, it's like 4482 until 4470, something around this area. It's actually it's actually bigger than that zone that I marked out. It's actually until the 70s, but it's a bit bigger, right? But this is kind of the concentrated volume. Okay, it's the 4478 until the 4484, pretty much. Okay. So yeah, the reaction is fantastic here, but yeah, it was a little 100 pips or something like that from that zone. But it's just not something I really want to trade today. So I'm just marking out the levels right now. If I see anything that I really like, I will for sure execute. But this is why I'm not streaming for like 2 hours as usual. I'm already streaming for almost 3 hours right now. Because I can just see how there could be a moment where we could see something really good, right? And otherwise, I'm not just gonna force anything, okay? It sounds a little bit annoying, but you know, because we're trading almost every day on the streams, right? But there are moments, and this is something I have to be upfront with. There are moments in time where I recognize certain market conditions, the certain way price is moving, where I can see in the order flow, you can see in the structure that it doesn't click. It doesn't have the right confirmations we're usually seeing that we're looking for, etc. Make you a bit more hesitant because the setups are just not as clean or clear. And this either allows you then to force trades you should not take, right? Because there's nothing worse than taking trades you shouldn't take them because you deeply know that this is not the setup for you, right? That aligns with your process. There are going to be days like that, right? But for me, it's still very interesting to watch the price action right now to mark out the zones of interest because you see how important these levels still are. And why we're reacting from those, it's not a surprise. It's not built around just marking out a random box. No, it's actually because of the volume that's traded at the bottom of this hourly candle, which is super important. But I still wanted to give it a bit more time because if we do manage to pull back into that 85 and we see that we're actually reacting with a lot more volume again, and we see a lot of selling again, and there's no follow through, yeah, then that's a signal. And that's a signal I'm willing to trade here. In the end, right, I do want to become, like I said before, every month, I want to end the month green, okay? That's the goal. So what you see on this channel is me actually want to make money on this stream, right? Not just like making money because I want to trade and have fun. No, I actually am here to make money trading, right? You don't see me promote a lot of things. Okay, I promoted a couple times FundedNext. That's pretty much it, right? I had one launch with with a small group of people, which I will probably do soon again. But that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that you see here. No banners. Really occasionally, but like. So I hope you enjoy the education, man. That's also super important while we're waiting for it. But yeah, that's the goal of the stream, is to actually trade the right way. What about YouTube ads? The YouTube ads. Now, if you want to make money streaming, then you need to go to like, how do you call that? You need to go to like Kick or something, or Twitch, or I don't know. Kick, I think. Or yeah, Twitch. You don't want to do this on YouTube. But I don't know. I never really wanted to stream on Kick or on Twitch. I don't know. Can you explain your strategy? So in essence, we trade the gold hybrid trading system. It's actually a legitimate process, by the way, just so you know. Macro correlation, dollar, euro, oil, 10-year yield. We talked about it in today's session. Today was a perfect example. The huge skyrocketed, gold dropped. Then we have the higher time frame, supply and demand. That's pretty straightforward. The volume profile, right? Point of control, very high, very low, low volume nodes. The footprint, this is the actual, the trigger, the confirmation. And then we have, of course, reading the market conditions, the ranges versus the trends, the momentum, and then, of course, risk and position management. And then trade management and external awareness, right? And that external awareness is actually what we're dealing with right now. It's understanding if a trade makes sense according to the strategy, the system, the market condition applies. Pretty much all of that. Do we see any follow through? Not really, right? You see sellers still being in control here. Holding above that area. We're just pretty much right now paralyzed right there. So yeah, last chance, man. Can we drop into the 85s and do something there? What happened in that red box? In that red box, okay, let me explain this. Okay, so we have this box that we marked out before, right? It's this zone. It starts at like 80. It starts at like 85-ish, so a little bit lower. Starts like here, a little bit lower actually. Sorry, where was it? 85, right? Yeah, right there. It literally tapped into the 85s. So, yeah, right there. What happened in that area is this. Okay, price dropped extremely aggressively. Right here. Okay, so in the hourly candle, you can see it actually even more cleaner. This is the hourly candle. Price dropped like absolute wildfire, right? We had the 9 a.m. candle. It never recovered. It just straight up. When the 9 candle opened, the 9 a.m. candle opened, immediately dropped to the downside. You can actually see right here that we are actually holding above that area where the more volume was traded. So inside of this candle, we have all these boxes, right? These are like price clusters inside of the candle. So in between 24 and 30 is a price cluster. In between 16 and 24. In between 08 and 15, right? And in an area where the most volume was traded is actually this highlighted zone right there. Okay? And that's this zone right there. And if you mark out a box right there, you can actually see that the candle was bearish. The candle was bearish. Okay? But underneath right here, okay, there was more buying than selling in this whole candle. Okay? Now, where did the candle close? Did it close above or below those sellers? Okay? Let me know. Did it close above or below those sellers? Buyers, sorry, buyers. It closed above it right here. See? So this is where all these buyers stepped in aggressively. Okay? With most of the volume was transacted there at the bottom. And the candle closed there. The hourly candle opened up. The next hourly candle pushed into that zone. And it respected it because in that buy was also a lot of selling. Okay? There are a lot of trapped sellers here. If these sellers will close their position in the pullback because they see, oh, price is not going further to the downside. It's not following through. Let me close it when I retrace back to my entry. They're going to buy back their trade. Because if you sell, you need to buy back in order to exit. Causes buying pressure. Buyers see that they step into. Okay? Now you see a lot of red in this candle. Okay? So now you see a lot of red. That means there is a lot of selling. More than buying. But the candle is above it right now. The candle is operating, roughly speaking, around it or above it. So there's an absorption taking place here. Buyers are trying to pull back right now, taking back some strength, some common ground. And it makes sense, right, that it happens right around this area. Because if you go back right now to the high time frame on gold, right? We are in a 4-hour demand zone right here. We are clearly in a 4-hour demand zone. We have to drop the base, the rally. We pulled into this zone right here. And while we did that, we actually swapped the previous daily lows as well here. Okay? So it makes sense that buyers are willing to step in here. It makes sense that sellers that are trying to sell here are getting squeezed. Overall, it's kind of logic that you could see potential double bottom kind of reversal, okay? Taking place. This is kind of what you're witnessing at this moment right now, pretty much, right? The double bottom kind of reversal play here. So this is why we marked out this area, okay? Right around here. And this is why we could indeed now kind of make that pullback, okay? Yeah, well, that makes sense. So this is how kind of the order flow is distributed. And this is also why I look at not just the 15-minute, I look at the 1 hour. I sometimes look at the 4 hour. I look at even the daily, right? The weekly sometimes even. Right? A lot of people that trade order flow, they usually tend to look only at the lower time frame. But it's very interesting also in the hourly, the 4 hourly, especially around the closures, okay? Because it really tells you the story of where we close. Really tells you an interesting story about where and who are trapped. Which trader is stuck in their trade right now. And with how much volume are they stuck? How much executions took place there? And the more volume was traded there, the stronger that conviction actually is, because Lorenzo, have you ever played with the DOM to look for spoofs and icebergs? You mean the bookmap or the depth of market, the standard depth of market? I don't really look for it personally. I don't really think it's really additional to my strategy, to be honest. I don't really see any, especially on gold. Okay, especially on gold. If it was on the Nasdaq, I would probably do it. I would probably have a look at the heat map to spot like the passive orders. I mean, I could do it if I want to. But I think for me personally, the market executes the footprint, the delta is more than enough, I think. Especially because we have a bunch of other tools we use, and the correlation and the volume profile on the chart. Beautiful learning here, yeah. Definitely more on the patient side, but I just explained the reason why, right? It's just understanding certain market conditions. In the end, I want to make money just like you guys, right? Every month, I want to end the month green. I need it. I want to make money in the market. This is why I'm trading. I'm not trading just for the stream, right? I'm trading for myself. I want to actually make money as well. So that also allows me to say, this is a setup I want to take, this setup I do not want to take, or I feel I don't want to really take. But it doesn't mean that the logic behind certain scenarios makes sense, okay? And this is a good explanation of how the interaction between buyers and sellers, actually takes place. And why I look at volume is super key. And if you want to learn about the volume profile, it's also a really good way to get started first, in my opinion, is to understand the volume profile better, okay? You can actually just download my book for free. It's a 300-page book, okay? It's a lot of information, but if you really want to learn about the volume profile, I would say study chapter 1, okay? Because this is, in my opinion, the foundation for the streams. If you want to really trade here live with me, right? The hundreds of trades, if not almost hundreds of trades I've executed on this stream. since I started my journey here. It all starts with this same book, and I will probably never change this. All right, the volume profile will always be part of my vocabulary. It will always be my main tool. Lorenzo, do you think the guy on TikTok is live right now? I don't know, man. But if you know, then report that fake account on TikTok. If you're watching any stream right now, you're watching me on TikTok, then you know it's not me, right? You're watching me, but it's not me. So yeah, don't click on any links. Don't trust anything like that. Report the account, actually. Or should I just leave it open for free promo? Now report the account, because people actually get scammed. People actually click on that link in the description and stuff. And then, you know what I mean? You know how it goes. Yeah, all right, guys. I think I'm going to cut it, man. 3-hour stream today. 1 hour more, even. Okay? Just to give you guys a bit of educational context as well. The explanation of volume and of why these areas are important. In terms of the market right now, just have these zones marked out. The 85, 73. What else do we have? The 21. That's the main zone. That's actually the major zone. If price gets there, we'll definitely have to see a rejection there, because that's that low volume node we talked about pretty much already, right? We know how important that zone is. This will be a huge level to watch. The 20 until the 28, right? That zone right there. That is a major zone. This is the level right now. We're going to operate in between these levels, in my opinion, right now. Okay, that is something I'll be willing to look at here. I'll be willing to look at it here. Like I said, if we get to the 85 and I see buyers stepping in again, or I see a bottom wick getting created with a good closure, right? It's long bottom wick with a good closure. I'll be willing to push it higher. I'll be willing to go long. But these are pretty much the only two scenarios that I will be looking for at this current moment here. Okay. For now, if you really need to take that trade at the bottom right there, I would be a bit more. I would manage the trade actively. I would watch it very closely, and I would go from there. Okay. Thank you for the book. It helped me so much, and trading skills also improved. That's why we're here, man. I'm here to help, man. Anytime. We're here to make sure that you are updated. So if you show up here at 8, there's always something happening. Even when the market is not doing anything, there's always something to talk about of importance as well here. So yeah, I think first time, not really a trade this day in comparison to the last 2 weeks. But hey, I think it's important. It is an important session, and it could have ended up very nasty if he took the wrong decision there, for example. So yeah, let's see what happens if we pull back to the 85s. Pay attention to this zone. Pay attention to the 21 as well here. I think we're gonna operate in between the zone, in between these two zones right now. We could be operating around here, and this will potentially set in like a new kind of range until we manage to decide on where to follow through here. Okay, in between the 85, 75, and then of course the 20 and 30. Okay, the 4520, the 4530, and then the 85 and the 75. Okay, these are 2 zones right now that I would highly pay attention to. These are not zones that I mark out for no reason. Okay, it's a low volume node at the top, major selling there, major drop, major trapped participants there at the top, and here of course that major volume executed at the bottom, right? This will be a very important zone, the 85. Super, super important. Okay. How many trades do you take in a day? Yesterday I took around, I think 3 trades in New York and then another one in Asia. So around 4 trades. But I think the average is around, I would say 2 to 3 throughout the whole day, I think. I think I can only make really like 2 or 3 good decisions a day. I don't think necessarily that more is always better. Okay. All right. Hope you guys are doing well here. Thank you guys for today's session. Hope you guys survived this craziness. Okay, the yield is slowing down a little bit. That is the good part about right now. We have been pushing up the whole session. The dollar, of course, as well. Unstoppable dollar. Oil is weaker. There's no doubt about that here. But I think gold is holding up really well now. All right, it's doing its absolute best to push price down, but sellers are absolutely failing right now at the moment, okay? So 85, super important, and 20, super important as well here. All right, I'm gonna be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. And hopefully tomorrow we'll have a bit more cleaner confirmations, not just straight up squeezing up and squeezing down, but actual some really good solid convos, okay? And confirmations does not mean not being aggressive or not entering immediately or setting limit orders. Confirmation means looking for the confluence that align, that actually build the setup you're looking for, okay? All right, guys. Sounds good, my G's. I'm going to see you guys very, very soon again. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. EST. And my goal right now, this episode 46, is to get at least to 100 episodes straight. So 5 days a week. All right? See you tomorrow, man. See you tomorrow again. Take care. Much love. See you later. Ciao, ciao.